With E3 right around the corner, and Nintendo's Direct set to be broadcasted on Tuesday, June 11th at 6 p.m. Central European Time, discussions around the new Smash Bros. Character reveal are as lively as ever, with a shadow drop of a Dragon Quest character, or perhaps a Microsoft rep, or Dante from the Devil May Cry series, to be expected. But whether you are Team Steve or Team Sora, being part of the conversation and having fun participating in it is the most important part. Regardless of your character of choice making it or not. Right? Right? Well, regardless, we are almost sure to get one or maybe even two characters for the popular fighting game announced. One revealed and released instantly, and one to keep us on the hook. My personal favorite would be a Xenoblade character like Elma or Rex, but those are, as you can tell from the title, not the characters that I wanted to bring up today. No, today I wanted to call out some more sneaky options for a DLC character. Someone to dive right into the action, so to speak. And that would be an Assassin's Creed rep. And I know, a lot of people will frown at the idea of someone that's not from Nintendo and not called Sora or Banjo being announced for Smash. But if you think about it, it wouldn't be that big of a surprise. So let's make a case for Assassin's Creed in Smash. First of all, who would I pick if I was Nintendo to represent this over 16 games? Yes, 16 games, not including mobile spin-offs spanning franchise. Well, first of all, it had to be someone who has a game on a Nintendo platform. Well, duh. Even if Joker is an exception to this rule and Cloud used to be an exception, I would still think this quote-unquote rule holds up. That would leave Altair, Ezio, Connor, Edward, Evelyn, and Alexios/Cassandra. Yep, technically all of them were on a Nintendo console, which I will get to later on. But for now, I'd like to focus on those who have their main game on a Nintendo platform. Connor with Assassin's Creed 3 and Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, Edward, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Evelyn with Assassin's Creed 3 Liberations, and Alexios/Cassandra with Assassin's Creed Odyssey Cloud version. First, the newest characters, Alexios/Cassandra. For one, they would be the newest and therefore most relevant characters. Also, it would be interesting to have them as one fighter with the option to choose to play as one or the other, just like with Corrin or Robin. But I think this is highly unlikely, since the Cloud version may have not been a thing yet when DLC characters were decided late 2017 to mid 2018. Also, I would argue that a Japan-only Cloud version is just not relevant enough to warrant a Smash entry. Next, I would disregard Evelyn, since Liberations is more of a spin-off title and more or less a bonus content to Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered. That leaves us with Connor and Edward, and I would like to think both of them are solid contenders for Smash. Runner-up would be Ezio, who arguably is the most popular of the AC protagonists. He has a game on the DS and a port of the Ezio collection to Switch is not out of the question. But here's my reasoning for him not being the one, and that would be the quote-unquote just another sword fighter argument. A lot of people are sick of it, but Sakurai still seems to love his sword fighters. Joker kind of has a long swordy knife thingy, and if the Dragon Quest rep is real, that would be another one. I can't see Nintendo having more than one or two regular sword fighters in the Fighters Pass. They, I assume, should at least have kind of a twist to them. keeping that in mind, I would argue that Ezio wouldn't have made the cut. Now Connor would be another thing all entirely. With his signature tomahawk, throwing darts, smoke bombs, hidden blades that twists in a knife sort of thing, and his Native American bow and arrow, which I don't know how fucking great script, don't know how different that is from a normal bow and arrow, but whatever. Well, at least these things bringing loads of new moveset potential to Smash. I could see why they would bring him over. However, Assassin's Creed 3 is considered by many to be the black sheep of the franchise. And even though it's one of my personal favorites, I can see why some people don't like it coming off a yearly release schedule and not bringing enough changes to the franchise. I simply don't see Nintendo choosing him. Edward's home game, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, on the other hand, is regarded to be one of the best games of the series. Even if it's because of the pirate stuff and less because of the assassinating part of the game. But similar to Connor, Ed would bring a slew of new, fresh moveset potential to the series. Like Connor, he's equipped with throwing darts, smoke bombs, hidden blades, obviously, but on top of these, he has a blowpipe that shoots different kind of darts and 4 freaking guns, which, since Joker and Bayonetta, seem to not be a taboo anymore. But what about his main weapon, you may ask? He uses 2 sabers. Wouldn't that make him just another sword fighter, just like Ezio? To which I would reply, yes, he uses 2 swords. That would make him the first dual-wielding fighter, which would be something new. So I see it as more of a compromise between Sakurai seemingly loving his sword fighters and the community not wanting a DLC character that could be considered, quote-unquote, just another sword fighter. So yeah, moving on. Another thing one would have to keep in mind are the games of the series that have already been on a Nintendo platform. And although this is one of these by the community determined quote-unquote rules, that was already kinda broken with Joker and Cloud. Well, kinda, since eventually both of them came to Nintendo platforms, with Persona Q2 releasing on the 3DS and the upcoming Persona Scramble for Switch, and also a recent port of the Final Fantasy VII to Switch. So even though this rule has been broken, it's still, as I stated, something we should keep in mind, since having a history with Nintendo certainly doesn't hurt chances of getting into Smash. And surprisingly, AC does have quite the run-ins with Nintendo's hardware, dating back all the way to the DS with Assassin's Creed Altair Chronicles in 2008 and Assassin's Creed 2 Discovery in 2009. Since then, Assassin's Creed 3 and 4 were released on the Wii U, with the remaster of 3 packaged with Assassin's Creed Liberations HD, releasing recently on the Switch, and the aforementioned cloud version of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. In total, that leaves us with 6 games, not counting AC3 twice, on Nintendo's platforms. Also, chances of Rogue, 4 Black Flag, and the Ezio collection aren't too low, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Personally, I'd want him to bring over at least 4 Rogue and maybe Syndicate, but that's neither here nor there. Something else to consider here is representation. Ever since Sonic joined the fight, Smash wasn't only about celebrating Nintendo games anymore. It's about celebrating video games in general now. So we see that with characters from different genres, different developers and different series, from Capcom's Mega Man and Ken to Konami's Snake and Simon. So it kind of makes sense that some people are tired of the whole who's gonna be in Smash next debate, and one could argue that with a whopping 75 fighters, we are already having enough Smash reps, and arguing over whether or not Steve from Minecraft should be included is silly. But me personally, I would have to disagree. There is something very lacking in the Smash Bros. Roster. Yes, we have fighters from Capcom, Konami, Bandai, Atlas, but what do all of these companies have in common? Yep, they're all Japanese. If you don't count Diddy Kong and King K. Rool, who have been created by a Western developer, Rare, but are still owned by a Japanese company, Nintendo, we still have to get a Western character in Smash yet. So in order to be a game that truly represents gaming on a global scale, we should see a Western rep in the Fighters Pass. Considering Nintendo and Ubisoft's flourishing relationship ever since the Switch's inception, we could see a fighter from the French-Canadian company in this mashup fighter. Someone might say that Rayman or the Rabbids might be a better choice since they are considered to be the company's mascot, not unlike Mario to Nintendo or what Crash used to be for the PlayStation brand. But I'd argue that Rayman hasn't been relevant enough in recent memory. Sure, he would be a good legacy choice, but the Assassin's Creed franchise is arguably Ubisoft's biggest and most important IP, with more than 10 mainline releases, several spin-offs, a movie, and a metric frick ton of merch. A rep from AC would catch the attention of even people who only follow Nintendo casually, or people who don't care about Nintendo's offerings at all at the moment. And at the end of the day, these new eyes that would go, wait, what, Assassin's Creed and Smash? How is this even possible? Are exactly what Nintendo and Ubisoft want on their games. I almost forgot Dark Samus, who has the same deal as Diddy Kong and K. Rool, created by Retro, but owned by Nintendo, so yeah. Same old, same old. Now, to finish off with something a bit more fun. I might not be a professional Smash player, so it would be hard for me to imagine a detailed moveset. I mean, maybe Edward's special could be his arsenal of weapons like the blowpipe, smoke bombs. Maybe he uses his hidden blade when he grabs someone. But what I can imagine though is what else would come with the Fighters Pack. And that is stages, musics, costumes. The stage could very well be Edward's ship, the Jackdaw, and if shanties were selected to play during battle, the crew could be in the background, singing and sailing along. Storms, enemy ships, and whales, maybe even sharks, could be stage hazards. Alternatively, I could see Nassau or Havana as potential stages, showing off this game's beautiful recreation of the Caribbean. Regardless of the location, characters from the game such as Blackbeard, Adewale, and Anne Bonny could show up. Potential for music would also be plenty, with the above-mentioned shanties and the AC4 soundtrack in general being nothing short of brilliant. Just give the theme song of the game a listen and imagine duking it out with Toon Link, Joker, and Edward on a pirate ship. Now costumes could be the smallest thing with the biggest impact. That's kind of an innuendo, I didn't realize that while writing, but whatever. So yeah, costumes. This is where Edward would go from representing his home game to representing the Assassin's Creed franchise as a whole, since it's tradition by now that all the outfits from earlier AC games are available as outfits for the main character to wear. This could mean that Edward could have outfits from up to 7 other assassins to wear in Smash. So even if you skipped AC4 or just don't like Edward that much, you could still fight as Ezio, Altair, or Alexios, sort of. So, in conclusion, There could be a stronger case made for Assassin's Creed in Smash than you might have thought. Do I think it's very likely? Maybe. Nintendo would have to decide if it made sense to put an AC rep in, and Sakurai would have to approve the choice. And there is little of none evidence of him saying yes or no to such a proposal, other than him at least owning some of the Assassin's Creed games. But from a more than a decade-long history of the franchise with Nintendo platforms, the representation potential of Western games to the potential of moves, stages, and costumes, Edward James Kenway would be one hell of a candidate for the Fighter's Pass.